Well, here we are in the here and now. Yeah. 4 days in prison, Bordeaux. But what was worse was the first night, in the police holding station. They're sadists, in the full sense of the word. It was very inhumane, incredible. The police are nuts. There's a new policy. They're supposed to have a university diploma, but right now they have nothing inside there to work with, no mental tools at all. Really impervious to any sort of humane sort of dialogue or anything like that. These cops are nuts. Really, I'm warning you. I know. I'm warning you all. Well, but like the first night was in this holding station with four incandescent lamps, going at the same time all night long. And there was no mattress on the bench. And there was no food. And there was no cover. And there was no pillow either, And they would just sort of walk around, every 30 minutes or so to make sure that you hadn't killed yourself. And that was about it, for the first night. But in Bordeaux, that was like summer camp afterwards. This old prison of 150 years. It's really bizarre. Inside, they still have the old bullhorn, loudspeakers that are about, maybe 150 years old as well. And, like the guards, shout into them. And, when I was just arrived, I'm not used to hearing that sort of thing, and I didn't, I couldn't understand whatever was being said over the loudspeaker, even though it was supposed to be something like very urgent, that you had to do. It was like an order. I had no idea what it was, and then, at the last, the last day, I was visiting with a friend there, and Jesse Wiseman, and he says, wasn't that you that they called, to go out, because I was just about to go out, and I said, I don't know, I have no idea. So I missed my call out, and he said, here, come with me, let's go ask. So the two of us, two Jewish criminals, walking down the hallway, a very long hallway, and he's down at cell 31, and so we get there. Yeah, that's me, that they wanted to get out, so that was about it. That was after we had smoked up, of course. It's all over the place, it's everything's, the prison walls are coming down, not only legally, but in terms of, technology, and digital access to the internet. I mean, in the first ward that I was in, A ward, there's even, news being made, by it, that they have succeeded in using drones to fly in, drones for phones, like, and then getting away with it. When I came back there that night, like was under search, so we had to all hang out in the gym, for like 3 hours. So, I did some exercises. That's all. You meet the most interesting people there, like Chris, from the Mohawk Nation. Wow. Like everyone's there. And like about 30% of the inmates, are of colored men, and a third are Black men, even though the population is much less. It's all sort of skewed. It's incredible. Yeah.
It usually is. So can you explain just what happened after court, how you wound up in the facility, and
Yeah.
how did you get out?
I broke out. No, no. Well, yes, but what happened is that when I first got arrested, I had to sign this paper saying that I wouldn't go back to the Jewish Community Center, where the poster was hanging out in front of, when I did the graffiti, which is, a fact. I don't deny that. It's just that I deny the charge, on the fact, which is the problem. So, the guys inside, were freaking out that I'd be in there for graffiti. And I said, what? Graffiti at 75 years of age. Okay. So, anything's possible in the world of, what is kind of world is it? It's a whole sort of layer, like a plaster on top of our society that is keeping us confined, like we're living in a prison. That's what it's all about. So, you know, when I got out of the first, you know, like detention, you know, to receive the charge, you know, way back, I had to sign this condition saying I wouldn't go back to the Jewish Community Center, but I figured I could contest it, you know, in the first appearance. But then I found out that, you know, you can't contest it on the first appearance, you know, on what's called the comparution. So, you know, I put and so the legal motion, requête, that I put together, written down in form, to deposit it that day, I gave it to this guy who was supposed to be a lawyer who said he was going to be helping me, and he didn't deposit it, you know, but I don't think it would have worked anyway the first day, you know, because that's what the regulation 505 of the criminal code says. Okay, so then I come, I negotiate with the, I asked the Crown prosecutor, you know, if they would lift the that condition, you know, of release, and they refused. So I figured, okay, I have to deposit this on my own. So I went and I put the motion into the court at the clerk's desk, and I got a hearing set for Tuesday morning, the day at which I was going to go back to the Jewish Community Center for the general annual meeting of the Holocaust Museum that I want to be a member of, you know, because I'm a second generation Holocaust survivor, you know. So what's a Jewish, you know, a museum on the Holocaust, you know, all about if there's, you know, the survivors are not allowed to be in there, you know, it wouldn't make any sense. So, you know, as the hearing was in the morning, and the Crown prosecutor, you know, like was saying that, you know, she was maintaining, you know, her objection to lifting this release, and that I would still be banned, you know, and if I went back, I would be arrested, you know. So the judge said, well, you know, like I've been instructed by the Crown prosecutor, you know, that I don't have a decision in the matter. And I said, you know, that's not possible, because I received an email from the Crown prosecutor saying that she refused to lift the condition. That is, that she had a choice in the matter, and she could have lifted it if she wanted to, but she didn't. So that means a judge could also have, you know, a power of decision to decide whether or not to lift the condition, yes or no. But this judge, you know, denied that she had such a power. And she refused to lift the condition. She was just giving an excuse because she was told not to, you know, by the Crown prosecutor, who was told not to, you know, by the Zionist lobby type thing. So I was refused that Tuesday morning, you know, which I thought I was going to win. So I went back to the Jewish Community Center anyway. And, you know, I gave them a copy of the motion that I then deposited that afternoon with the Superior Court in appeal against the decision of the municipal court judge. So, you know, I figured, you know, like if I showed them this, you know, they'd be afraid, you know, to have me arrested because they might be wrong. But they were so confident, you know, and they were sure, you know, that I had to be gotten rid of, you know, like it was incredible, you know, the mentality that I was presented with. So, you know, when I went there, you know, I walk into the foyer, you know, there's security, and, you know, you have to go with side entrance, you know, there's 4 security guards there in the sky, you know, like, you know, taller than me, you know, look a bit chubby, you know, like sort of, you know, young enough, you know, to sort of physically push me back, comes up to me and says, who are you? And I said, I'm Dr. Abraham Weizfeld. And he says, you know, you're not allowed to be here. Da, da, da. And he said, no, here, look at this, you know, motion that I've just presented. He accepted it, looked at it, and he said, no, 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 no. And he says, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police, you know. So I said, no, I can't leave. And so meanwhile, I had a body cam on, you know, I took my phone and I put it in my front pouch, and I had it on live, you know, on Facebook. And so I created a body cam with my phone. So that's the first video that got out, you know, showing the cops coming up to me. But it doesn't show them, you know, handcuffing me in the back or anything like that. But that was captured on video by Robin Edgar on his YouTube station. And it was, you know, put into the comment section of the first notification that I put up on the way going into the Jewish Community Center. That's on my Facebook page. So then, you know, they put the handcuffs on like tight, you know, like they were hurting, you know. I got the inflammation over here. I showed this to another judge afterwards. Boy, there's so much that happened, you know, like it's time compressed into this immense, you know, black hole that's, you know, unending. So they took me into this police holding station where, you know, like it was the all night, you know, torture. And I was, you know, getting pretty tired out. So I finally got to Bordeaux, you know, got some rest. Then I started meeting people. Wow, what a world, you know, the lumpen proletariat, a whole other, you know, like universe, incredible. And everybody gets to meet everybody else. all the different nationalities, all the different backgrounds. This, guy from the Mohawk Nation, from New York, he was there. He didn't speak any French. And I was put in cell with him, and, I sort of, like learned, all about, like how the cell, the whole wing was operating. It was incredible, like whole underground existence there, to defy the imprisonment, as I mentioned, in terms of technology and so then one of the people that I was in contact with, like a movement person, who's a punk sinker actually. He also happens to be a lawyer, a movement lawyer who's punk, and autistic as well, but he controls it. He's an immense, determination. And in court, he'd done all this research, and he came in, to help me, pass the motion, through. And so the first judge, he found, he told the judge, he educated the judge and demonstrated to her, according to the regulation 505 of the criminal code, that she did have discretionary power. So she had declared, that she was misled by the Crown prosecutor. So then we had another hearing on Thursday morning that he got with a new judge, and it was declared, and the previous judge had declared it, and also he declared in court, that she had made an error. And so this new judge said that she adopts, the responsibility of making a discretionary decision on the condition. And she called for a hearing. And we had the hearing Thursday morning. And then, the lawyer didn't show up until the afternoon. And she was getting pissed off because she was working since 9 o'clock in the morning, And so so, we're waiting. So finally he shows up, and he's got it all prepared, and he's got all this research that he did, like 5 different cases, of why I should be released. And, it was so convincing. It was incredible. And then I was testifying as to my background, proved that I was Jewish. And, so she came down, the next day. She didn't release me right away. She had me come back, on video the next morning. And then she had this whole written decision that she read that's setting a precedent, establishing that this is an internal, difference of political nature within the Jewish community, and it has, no reason, to keep me confined, even before I'm considered to be guilty or whether or not I'm considered to be guilty. So this, is not, justifiable, and she released me like that. And then it took, like a few more hours, and then finally got out, and I got all my stuff back, except for my marijuana. The guards kept that. So ridiculous.
Why they keep your marijuana?
Well, I had the marijuana with me, like in my pouch, my backpack.
Why they keep it? Marijuana is legal in
yeah,
Canada.
it is. They probably kept it to smoke because I had good marijuana, like from the government store, Jean Guy, it's called. It's famous.
So you're telling me you can smoke marijuana inside the prison?
No, they kept it in stock, like together with all my clothes and stuff. Yeah. So, but inside, of course, we smoke for sure. We got it in, one way or another. No problem. It's always been. Yeah. Oh, my. So, they were defeated, the Zionists were defeated, this written decision, I'm going to get it on a audio disc, and I'll be able to reproduce it and then translate it. It's, it's a magnificent precedent. And, my lawyer developed another argument, saying, that the poster that I was writing on was itself illegal because it was posting on, public property on a lamppost, and that's not permitted by city regulation. Luck, that's, their case is gone. They've lost already, when it actually comes to trial on the 30th of October, they're going to be in full retreat. This has been, it's logical that it would have, come to this point, but it doesn't, the whole thing, doesn't operate, the state doesn't operate according to logic. So if you use logic, you can defeat the state.
So explain again, what was your victory? Explain again, what was the victory over?
Okay, first of all, I can't be banned from the Jewish Community Center just because I'm a Jewish Bundist. The Zionists have control of the Jewish Community Center, but they can't ban the Jewish Bund. They can't ban a Jewish Bundist because the Jewish Bundist is Jewish and it's supposed to be a Jewish community center. It's supposed to be operating on the behalf of the entire Jewish community, and it belongs to the whole Jewish community. And if they deny that, then all of a sudden you have a selection process. Who decides, who's going to be Jewish, and all of a sudden, boom, you have a nuclear explosion of a difference of opinion as to who is Jewish or not. That's impossible. It would, implode. So there I am. And I've got a legal definition now that I am Jewish and that I belong in the Jewish Community Center. This is, it's cracked open the whole,
Okay. So that means that they cannot ban you. Is that right? Is that correct?
I can go back anytime there. Yeah. Yeah. I'm in no rush though.
No, okay, but you have this in writing, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On audio. It's not in writing yet. I don't know if the judge is going to give, a written copy to my lawyer, Maître Richard Boyer. Good guy, movement lawyer. And now it's a question of whether there's other stuff afterwards. That's for much later. Yeah.
So what's next? You have a trial in October?
Yeah, October 30th is next appearance. I think that's to set a date for trial, and then we can select the witnesses. I've got all the proof that they have, already. And next step is getting a witness selection and that sort of thing. So I'm going to be able to pull in the original, librarian who made the complaint against me, and I can ask her any question, and she has to answer it under oath.
Okay, and what are you going to trial for again?
Criminal mischief. They're saying that the writing of the graffiti on the Israel Day poster was criminal mischief because I was vandalizing property of another. Okay, this property is worth $2.01, and it belongs to some private, a political organization that is promoting Zionism there. It's not. I don't think it's the Jewish Community Center that's sponsoring this. No, this is has its own name. It was written in the proof somewhere, that the poster belonged to some committee or other. So it, and then they were claiming that I was, writing on the building itself, like as if, I was writing on the private property, but it wasn't. It was posted on a lamppost, which is itself an illegal thing to do. But anyway. It's going to be done in court. It's going to be a big, big thing. It's going to be, it's like putting them on trial now.
So you were unable to get that prosecution stopped or dropped?
Yeah, it's not dropped yet. I'm going to put forward a motion. That's one of the first things I'm going to do. I have it all written up already, a motion to cancel the whole proceeding. That's
that's because I'm just saying.
But I'd like it to go ahead.
But for the court to waste its money and its time over you writing 7 words on a piece of paper. It shouldn't have been on a poll anyway, because it's a public poll. So it is an illegal posting. Therefore, why should you be prosecuted for writing on something that should not have even been there?
Yeah, of minimal value. I haven't sort of destroyed some artistic object or something like that. So
we're not talking about anything of substance here.
Yeah. So
we're talking about a poster illegally posted on public property that you wrote on.
Yeah. And
the court is now wasting spending the people of Canada's money to prosecute you.
Yeah. And that proves
it sounds like a political prosecution.
That proves that it's a political prosecution. Yeah.
I'm saying it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Let me give you an analogous situation. In many urban areas, Latin, meaning Mexican or South American or Central American entertainers, advertise illegally. They put their posters all over town, on city posts, on freeway entrances, everywhere in the country. They don't buy a billboard. They never advertise. They never pay to advertise ever, never, anywhere. Okay, all their postings are illegal, and they never take them down. Okay, so that's like me going to one of their posters and saying, "What happened in Ayotzinapa?" or "Some determination for Puerto Rico," or stop the sanctions against Venezuela. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The posters are there illegally. They're not legal. They put them up between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no cops on the streets.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Oh, we're going to charge you with defacing this poster. Yeah, but it's up there illegally. It's exactly the same thing is happening to you.
Yeah.
It's a completely parallel, analogous situation.
Yeah.
There should be this should never have been brought even to a prosecution.
Yeah.
They should drop the second they got the complaint. No, we're dropping this. We're not going to waste time on this. This is a political prosecution.
Yeah, but they're pretending that it's an anti-Semitic act because it's done against the Jewish Community Center, but it's not against the Jewish Community Center. It's not on the property at all. Like I just came out of the property.
No.
Yeah, no.
And what they're saying is to advocate for Palestine is anti-Semitic.
Yeah, that's what she said in her affidavit. When she wrote down, and she didn't use the full, like length of the words that I had actually written. She just wrote down that I had written "Free Palestine" on the poster, when in fact I had
that's fine.
And "A Free Palestine." So like she was saying, it's anti-Israel. But how could it be anti-Israel if the word "and" is there? Because Israel must be there before the word "and." It's only logical. So I'm going to ask her about that. So but at the same time, there's 4 books of mine inside the library. Inside, there I can't even go to see my own books. Like on previous, like juridical decision. But now I'm free. Oh yeah, here's my freedom T-shirt. This is from a conference in 2001. We had Chicago.
There you go.
And the occupation. This was, our Jewish. United Front movement conference that we had that launched the campaign, in North America to start, organizing against the Zionist party's control of the Jewish communities.
Yeah, okay.
Leadership more than a control. Yeah.
Well, that's a very beautiful and profound T-shirt you have there.
Yeah. This was a big step forward, for us because we were so isolated before. And then, this guy in Chicago, he got it together, and he was pretty good. He brought us all together. We had people from, various tendencies, both, 2 state and 1 state sort of, propositions. And we just, we helped organize a consensus, that accommodated both, perspectives. That's not the important issue. The important, a plane on which to, do a political combat, is resistance is on the occupation, because that's the most severe repression of the Palestinians at this point. But, like, it's sort of, like a problem too, because the Palestinian refugee camps get forgotten about, meanwhile they enter into civil war between Fatah and Hamas and Islamic Jihad against Fatah. And then sometime now what's happening is, Fatah itself is split. And they're fighting, the external command and the internal command of Fatah are 2 different things. And now they're fighting about it as well. There was even one day in which there were 10 casualties, 10 deaths between the Palestinians in that camp. So, it's a struggle, on so many different planes. And now I've added a plane of struggle in which we've had a victory here in the international arena.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and what I'm hoping is that have you had any other allies like Jason on the news talk about your case yet?
Yeah, oh yeah, Jason's been good. Like he's hard hitting. He's generally accurate, and he puts it into perspective and into context. He educates a lot of people that way. that's excellent. And then a couple of other, broadcasters as well. Oh my. Yeah, but we've only sort of been able to have carry on YouTube media.
Right.
We haven't been able to break into the Canadian Jewish News, which declares itself to be Zionist, in the first place. She called itself the Canadian Zionist News. So all those avenues are still blocked. So it's the Quebecois media perhaps could break it open, because the Quebecois are generally sympathetic with the Palestinians, because they have a parallel condition of being under occupation by another national culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All right. So we have a hearing in October,
30th.
and you be preparing. So you have about a month about 6 weeks to prepare for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got all the proof is right here in this. Here it is. All the affidavits and stuff. So it was important, to be independent of a lawyer, because the first lawyer was shafting me. But
Yes,
when I can work together with a movement lawyer, like Maître Richard Beaulieu, wow, that's double trouble. That's wonderful.
It sure sounds like you were shafted. That's sounding good to me, I tell you.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing in the world, when a lawyer rips your ass off, when a lawyer takes your money and doesn't do it. Oh, it's something about that. It's
like a business, it's like a business. They do the least work for the most money type thing. That's all that you're concerned about.
And really, they don't do no work, but they basically research something, write it down, go to court and talk. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Right.
And the research is, like, it's not in a library with books or anything like that. It just, put, a few code words, into a lawyer's program, and then they get the research back. That's it. That's all. And then just read it.
That's all they do. That's all they do. I really think for this experience, we need more out of jail house lawyers. We need more people on the streets who know the law.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me that's what happened with you. Yeah. Somebody knew the law, came in with some arguments. The judge had to take them into account, because they were filed as I know a lawyer right now, and bless her, she would never do that. She would always be, and she's a movement person.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage, to do that.
Right, but she's the lawyer.
Yeah.
So she would never train us. I'm gonna have to ask her, why don't you train people to be street lawyers? Why not train some people?
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's gonna have to come back to you for the serious stuff that we don't know what we're doing. And maybe you have because you have passed the bar, and you've been doing it for 25 years. You should know something. You would know a few things that we don't know. But on some things, you can tell us what to do.
Yeah.
File motion, just how the system works.
Yeah, that's right. Because once you can get a hearing, oh boy,
yes,
that opens it.
Can I get a hearing? Even if you want to F with somebody over some legal issues, your hearing is important. Maybe you could do that, and then they'll tell you, here, go down to the courthouse. You get the hearing filed, and I'll be your lawyer when you go to court, and I'll save you some money. Come on. Some things we need to know that. We need to know at least the paralegal part of it. How do you file the documents? We should learn that in high school or something.
And then, people can also start on their own, because they just have to go up to the clerk in the court and ask for, the form to do such and such. And the clerk will say, oh, what do you mean, da-da-da? And you say, yeah. And they say, oh, yeah, this form here, they give you the form. And then they, help you to fill it out. You can start like that. Depends on the clerk. You have to find yourself a sympathetic clerk, has nothing else to do, sort of thing.
Nothing else to do.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a few minutes left. So we should think of what to conclude with here. What about you? What's
well, everybody should know And United States, Biden may be gone soon.
Well, your mic, your sound isn't coming through the. Maybe you could
How
bring
about
your
that?
microphone closer to your mask or something like that.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. Yeah. Now you're closer to the mic.
Okay, well, the image is gone. Anyway, um, everybody should know that Biden may be gone soon.
How? You mean the election is soon or what?
No, he might not.
Yeah.
I've come across an analysis that's new to me. And basically, they're saying that the Hunter Biden prosecution, Biden's pitiful outcome on his Ukraine war,
Yeah.
his apparent loss of mental skills,
Oh yeah.
not because of age, just because he seems to be losing it. Because I'm against, oh, you're 85, you can't do it. No. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. I don't buy that nonsense. But there may be an impeachment hearing on Biden. He would win in the Senate. He might be impeached in the House. And there's pressure on him to get out. But it's not yet the mainstream political conversation in the US. But I'm convinced this analysis is correct. Mm-hmm. That Biden may be forced out before he leaves up before the end of the term, and or he will drop his determination to become president again. Just something you might want to be aware of. This may be it for him. Not next week, not next month, no. But the wheels are in place now. That he may be forced out for a number of reasons, forced out of re-election or even forced out of the presidency. Mm. Yes, but it's not that much known this is going to happen, but things are in play now. Mm-hmm. And it's a good chance one of the two will happen. He'll either leave the presidency and won't run, of course, or just not run. Mm-hmm. Because the Hunter Biden investigation and the impeachment, his mental deterioration, and the Ukraine war loss, it is a debacle, have tarnished his image. And the Democrats will be forced to dump him. Because right now, I'm not saying the Republicans would win the election, but no one is too pleased with him. That's it for me.
Who can they put up, to replace him? Who do they have?
Well, that's
Hillary Clinton or what?
Well, that's a good question, because Gavin Newsom in California, the governor of California, I don't think he wants the position. He just wants to stay in California. He just, he's governor. He got it made. Why try to run for president and lose? But he's still gonna lose. He's still gonna lose the presidential race and still remain governor. So it's possible that Gavin Newsom would do it. I'm not sure, but I'm saying this is out of the hands of the Democrats. What is happening now? The Republicans have started, and the prosecution of his son is adding to it, and the loss of the war in Ukraine, it is lost. They cannot win the war. They couldn't win. It was dumb to even start it. The loss of the war in Ukraine, and also his apparent mental deterioration.
Yeah. Then they can blame the loss of the war on Biden and get rid of
it. Yes, exactly. You got it. They can blame it on him.
Yeah.
And therefore, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. The new guy or new woman cleans up the mess.
Yeah.
That Biden started. That's exact. You got it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's inevitable. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's
and then
it.
Consider, that the sorry, I'm so tired.
It's okay.
But the election is next November or what?
Yes, the election is a year away.
Okay, so next November, but the Russian offensive is going to start the next springtime. So it's going to be just before the election.
Right. So they got to get this. They got to either what they call freeze the conflict.
On retreat, and having elections at the same time, So, a presidential candidate from a party that's in retreat cannot win an election.
Well, that's why Blinken wants to, quote, freeze the conflict. Just stop where we are now. But Russia's not going to do it unless some kind of deal is worked out behind the scenes, a real deal that they're going to be held to.
Yeah.
Russia will say, no, we're going to finish this off right now and end this war on our terms.
Yeah.
So you're right. They're losing and they're leaving power. It's not a good nation.
Yeah. And this is right after the Afghanistan debacle. They're full retreat in Afghanistan that they've never accounted for yet. Yeah.
Full retreat, just ran out and left everything.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I want everybody to know around the world that Biden, I think is gone. Maybe I'm wrong. But again, you can't have an analysis that doesn't look at the political operations of the opposition party. Too much of analysis is based on this and this and this based on something somebody wrote. But you have to look at concrete analysis of concrete conditions. Mm-hmm. And Biden is under attack on many levels, and inflation is eating people alive in the United States. Gas keeps going up, food prices keep going up, nothing is going down, people can't save any money. So they're not really inclined to vote for him. They'll vote for him because he's a Democrat, but there's no love for what he's done. He's done nothing but send money to Ukraine.
Incredible money. And that's going to feed inflation for many more years.
For many more years. The sanctions have backfired.
Yeah.
So, it's a total failure.
Yeah.
And I think the impeachment, if it gets off the ground and his deteriorating mental health, plus the COVID is on the rise again.
Yeah, still ongoing.
Right. His wife has COVID, which means he probably has COVID.
Whoa. This is imminent then. Yes.
I think it's imminent, but I could be wrong. But I'm saying there's another way of looking at things in the United States that I had to reject. That's all. There's more going on than you think. And the war, his health, the economy, and the hearings on impeachment don't help him. That doesn't help him at all. I'm not saying Trump's going to win, because in my view, Trump may have a heart attack and die. Trump has 4 trials. Trump was in his 70s too. He's never had 4 trials in his life. That's a lot of fucking stress, man.
And then the son as well, is under pressure. His son is going to be under exam, after Ukraine loses the war, then the question arises, like, what happened to all the money that was used to win the war?
Yeah, well, let's look like this, Abraham. Ukraine is losing the war. It's not going to win the war.
Yeah.
It doesn't have enough men.
Yeah.
They've killed between 70,000 and how many 100,000 men killed, dead.
Yeah.
They can't make their own ammunition. Yeah. They're gonna achieve a military victory or two, like in any war. Yeah. You're gonna outsmart your opponent and hit your opponent in a weak spot. Any war does that, okay? But they cannot win the war.
Yeah.
If Russia won a war, they would just destroy Ukraine, and they decided not to do that. They could bomb the hell out of Kiev. They could just knock everything. I guess they could. They could do everything at it and just knock it out if they really wanted to. But they didn't want that kind of war.
Yeah.
So I think Biden's days are numbered, and the Democrats better hope their days aren't numbered. The Democrats better hope that, because this presidency has sucked. No one's got nothing for it.